Welcome back to the ICRS 2015. We're on day 2 recording here, and we have Aaron and Chad Burns. How are y'all doing?
Doing great, David. Glad to be here.
They're cousins, if you're wondering. They're not brothers, but they're practically brothers. So they have a new movie coming out called Beyond the Mask, and I've seen the trailer. It looks awesome. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be in the preview when they show it this afternoon, but I forgive them. It's a very different genre. It's something that I hadn't seen in Christian film, and that's the reason I asked for this interview. It was a last-minute thing that I asked the publicist for, and that was to bring them in because this is something different. There's plenty of videos here. This is the only TV people that I'm interviewing besides another one that I enjoyed, and I really think it's going to touch people. So tell us a little bit about yourselves, and then we'll talk about the movie.
Okay. Well, my name is Chad, and I grew up in a Christian family and had a wonderful upbringing and a lot of great things just a huge blessing to me there. And went off to school and thought I was going to do mechanical engineering. I was wanting to work for NASA, of all people.
Okay.
And the Lord just redirected my heart and my aspirations and wound up in filmmaking. And so here we are. It's been a very long journey, many ups and downs.
Oh, I expect that.
Yep. And so our passion is making action-adventure films that are going to point young people to a relationship with Jesus Christ.
Ooh, that's awesome. Yep. And how about yourself?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, Chad and I are cousins. We grew up, our families would get together, over Christmas break or over spring break or the summer, whatever. We'd have a week where we'd hang out. We had to find something to do. So one summer asked me hey, can we build a log cabin in the woods behind our house? And he was like, okay. We say that was his first mistake, because then we started, shooting these movies and back there, dressing up like pioneers and cowboys and whatnot. And sort of over the years, as our just fascination with storytelling and filmmaking grew, as I was heading off to college, we said, hey, let's do one more. Let's shoot a feature film. And that was back in 2008. And so we shot that film, then it went on. Chad was finishing his degree in engineering. I was getting a business degree. And this little film that we had made, an action-adventure film, all volunteers. I played the lead actor, not a very good actor. But it started to go around the world. It's in 12 countries and translated into 4 languages.
Okay.
And bookstores all across the country. We started getting emails back from parents who said, hey, this is really cool. This is an action-adventure film that our whole family can sit down, have a blast watching, and woven through it is a strong Christ-centered story.
That's good.
And so we said, well, if the Lord allows us to, then we've got to make another film.
Okay.
And so that was the sort of genesis of Beyond the Mask.
All right. And so The Mask, your second film together? Or?
Yes,
correct.
It is. Yep. Second feature film.
And that's a lot to get done. I mean, you had to get the funding, you had to get the script, you had to get the actors.
Sir. So it's an entire process, and we saw the Lord move in each one of them. I'll talk about script just for a second, because there's a couple of people you may know. Have you ever heard of Paul McCusker? He's the Focus on the Family's creative director, famous for Adventures in Odyssey, and a ton of other stuff for them. Great guy. He's the lead screenwriter on Beyond the Mask.
He does great storytelling.
Adventures in Odyssey, John Avery Whitaker, all these people. That's like his world. Then another guy whose name you might recognize, Stephen Kendrick, who is the Fireproof Courageous co-writer fella. He also contributed to the script, sits on our board of advisors, has been speaking into this project for years now. And those two men and a whole group of other really top-flight creatives came together to help us.
Wow. So how did God, just relationships, people or just how it all came about?
Yes.
Well, we went out to a friend of ours knew Paul, and we said, hey, growing up, we listened to Adventures in Odyssey, and it's just the fun stories and the characters he created. So he said, who better to write a Christian action-adventure script for families than Paul? So we sent him a note through a friend, and Paul said, the Christian movies, I don't know if I'm really interested in doing this. But then we told him the plot. And so basically, Beyond the Mask is set in 1776.
Okay.
It's about an assassin who works for the British East India Company.
Okay.
And it's his journey to try to pay for his past, to right his wrongs and impress the girl that he loves. And so it's this action-adventure journey that's really different, really fun. And Paul looks at the idea as like, okay, hey, let's talk. So then we just had a blast working with him to create the characters. John Rhys Davies from Lord of the Rings plays this villain, and the script just called for this guy who has, he looks like a really polished, nice, gentlemanly businessman on the outside, but then when you meet him, when you cross him, he's got this backbone of steel, and come out and attack you. And so just these characters that were created, it was so much fun to go from the script, into the set and then pull together this cast and start making it.
Now, where was this shot at?
Shot in Detroit.
In Detroit?
It was shot in Detroit. A trivia piece for you. A lot of people don't know this. Henry Ford, Detroit luminary, built a brick-for-brick replica of Independence Hall in Detroit. So when you see Independence Hall in this movie, that's Independence Hall, Detroit, not Philadelphia.
Okay. Well, that's got to help.
Yes, absolutely. So it's fun. We filmed it in a couple of historic locations. There's some mansions that are built in Detroit that were modeled after the English countryside.
Sure.
And so the first third of the movie is set in Great Britain, but filmed in Detroit. And then for the second half of the movie, it's in the American colonies in 1776, and that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's no such place as 1776 Philadelphia Harbor. So we rebuilt it from scratch. So we have a 150-foot section of Philadelphia City Street. We have Ben Franklin's print shop, and we've got a dozen sets that were constructed. And then so when the characters walk on, all these period costumes that were sewn, and they've got their custom weapons designed for the different assassins and the agents. And the horses and carriages, it was really a lot of fun.
And listening to you, it doesn't sound like a traditional indie film as far as how you had to build your own sets and stuff. You don't see that a lot in the Christian films. You don't.
Yes.
That's very impressive, actually.
Yes.
And the Lord really blessed us with literally hundreds of volunteers from around the country. Somebody said, "Hey, I'm a carpenter. I can come and help you build sets." A friend said, "Hey, I own a lumber mill. I'm going to load up a truck full of scraps."
That's amazing.
And this stuff came together. So
right.
We might not have had a Hollywood budget to work with, but we had the Lord's blessing.
Lord's budget is better than Hollywood's budget because it touches the people's heart. It moves them forward.
Yes.
And whatever souls are come to this, whatever people come to the Lord from this, all those people that volunteer receive a harvest of that. They receive reward because of that. So tell us your positions in the movie itself.
Yeah, well, so I had the privilege of directing Beyond the Mask, and you touched on the souls and hearts thing, and we really like to share the message of the movie with folks. So if I could just do that briefly. So Dave, everybody knows somewhere inside of them that they come short, right? And I'm a new father, and sometimes I wonder, am I doing a good job being a dad, right?
You always think of that.
Yes,
you always
that's
do.
right. But when you're a student, or whatever it is that you are in business, wherever, all of us have things in our past that we wish we could change, or areas where we know we come short. And the question of how do I know when I've done enough? How do I know if I'm good enough? What makes me acceptable? Where do I find my sense of self-esteem, self-worth? Those questions are what we do with Beyond the Mask.
Awesome.
And so in this story, we have a guy with a really bad past, and he's trying to fix it. And he follows two separate tracks. In the first part of the movie, he leans on lies and deception, pure lies. Everybody knows that that's not going to work, but he tries it, and a lot of people do. Think of Facebook and the way we tweak our image all the time on Facebook or whatever. An article recently came out that said a large fraction of people lie on Facebook about who they really are, right? Because they want to project an image.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that collapses. Second phase, the guy works. He tries to be good enough on his own. So he says, if I work hard enough, if I can gin this up inside of myself, I can save myself.
True.
And the gospel message is that it's only through the finished work of Christ that I can find salvation and redemption. So that's where the story finally lands, and it's in the wreckage of his own best efforts he meets Christ, takes off that final mask, and is able to achieve the purpose for which God has called him.
Oh, that's powerful. Where's the release date for this one, guys?
April 6th. The movie is playing on 500 theaters across the country, and the number's growing. So here's the key, though. It's only playing for one night at that theater, and the tickets are only available online. So go to the website.
BeyondTheMaskMovie.com.
That's where you have to buy the tickets?
That's where you have to buy the tickets.
Okay.
BeyondTheMaskMovie.com.
Yep.
Go there. This movie is made to be experienced on the big screen.
Will it be in Houston? Because that's where I'm at.
Absolutely.
Okay. There's two or three theaters that have it in Houston.
Yes.
Okay, so I will make sure I'll buy like 6 tickets.
Good.
That's
good.
fantastic.
Take the family.
Yes. Again, it's BeyondTheMaskMovie.com.
It's great
Click
for
on
the whole
tickets.
family.
Oh, absolutely.
There's romance, and there's all the dresses, beautiful. People who like Downton Abbey, there's that kind of element to it, and then there's the
Jason Bourne side, National Treasure,
Secret Agent.
My kids will like it just because it looks like Assassin's Creed on a couple of shots there.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's
it's a really fun ride.
Yeah,
so I think we made it. Our goal was to make it for families to get together and watch, and but those themes that are in there, then as a dad, you can sit down with your kids and you can talk about these real life issues with them, and it isn't in the context of a dusty book or something. It's in the context of this action adventure journey, and this character that we've created then lives in your imagination. It grows with you and can travel with you, beyond the theater seat. It can come into your life, and those lessons that he learns become part of what we're praying that the Lord will teach folks.
All right. Well, give everybody that website one more time.
It's BeyondTheMaskMovie.com. You can go there. You can buy tickets right now. They're on sale right now.
Okay.
We sold like 300 tickets yesterday, and so please go right now. BeyondTheMaskMovie.com. Click on tickets. Enter your zip code. There's a theater near you.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much,
David. Thank you.
Is there any Twitter, Facebook, whatever you want to give the people, social media, you can do that as
It's
well.
Beyond the Mask movie.
That's right.
Yep.
On Facebook, on Twitter, and on the web.
Check it out. Tons of fun behind-the-scenes videos about how the visual effects were made and meeting the actors, John Rhys Davies, and all those things. So check it out.
You know, I wish we'd go on for half an hour, but I know these guys got to get to a premiere.
That's right.
So we'll be back with another great guest. Thank you both for being on the show.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, God
Appreciate
bless,
it.
man. Thank you. And be sure to see Beyond the Mask.
That's right.